Hello and welcome to the Kitchen Design Experts. We're the channel that tells you all you need to know about kitchens, kitchen worktops and kitchen appliances. Now today we're going to be talking about CORIAN worktops, and as usual we're going to be asking that very important question: are they worth it? However, before we start, I'd just like to point out that you may have noticed we haven't done many videos recently. Apologies. But there's been a very good reason for that, and I have some really exciting news for you. Over the past 12 months, we've spent the time locating, kitting out and launching a brand new showroom. Whoop! So, we've now got one showroom up in Bolton, which serves the northwest of England, and we've now got a showroom, the new showroom, actually we're videoing from that showroom at the moment, down in North Shropshire, South Cheshire, near Whitchurch. Which means not only can we serve the northwest of England, but now our services are available further south. Great news. So, back to the question: are CORIAN worktops worth it? When you're asking yourself the question, is something worth it? Generally, you have to do it by means of comparison. So in this video, I'm going to compare laminate worktops to CORIAN worktops. Now, typically, the difference in price in an average kitchen between those two types of worktops can be as much as £4,000, which is a considerable amount of money. So you have to, as I say, ask the question: are CORIAN worktops worth it? And I've got to say, generally, for many of our clients, the answer is actually no, they're not worth it. However, in some cases, for some clients, in some certain design situations, CORIAN worktops are definitely worth it. So I'd just like to explain why. So, when you're thinking about perhaps investing in a different type of worktops, such as CORIAN, but even quartz, granite or solid timber, basically what you've got to look at are the features that these different tops give you, because then you can answer the question whether or not this particular product is going to be suitable for you. Now, as far as CORIAN is concerned, there are many different features that to some of you may be absolutely vital to create the design that you want to create. So basically what we've got to do is to tell you today what are those features, therefore you can make an informed decision as to whether CORIAN is going to be the right worktop for you. CORIAN is a solid surface. It's a composite material made up of natural minerals and pure acrylic polymer. From a kitchen designer's point of view, one of the key things about CORIAN are the seamless joints. Basically, if you can imagine either a U-shaped or an L-shaped kitchen, when the worktops turn the corner, be it granite, quartz or laminate, you will see a physical joint between the two work surfaces. Now, there will be a joint in your CORIAN, but it's going to be a seamless joint. And that's one of the main reasons why you should consider CORIAN as your work surface in your kitchen. But what is a seamless joint exactly? Let me explain. So, seamless joints. Just imagine where two worktops come together, where the joint is. What we do with CORIAN, we use some colour coordinated adhesive that bonds the two joints together. You'll see it squeezing up in between the two joints, and what happens then, it hardens. And once it's hardened, it can then be sanded off and it forms this completely seamless joint. Now, you can't feel it, you can hardly see it. I mean, I've got some CORIAN at home and I cannot see the joint. Seriously, it's just not there visibly. Also, it won't allow for any water to ingress into the actual CORIAN subsurface. So, with laminates and sometimes with other products, water can damage the area of worktop around that joint. But with a seamless CORIAN joint, you needn't worry about that. The other thing is the entire work surface is non-porous, which means mould and bacteria won't dwell there. And also what you'll find is that any stains don't penetrate into the CORIAN, they stay on the surface. So the stains themselves can be cleaned off. Another huge advantage of this seamless nature of CORIAN is that, say, it's repairable. Let's say you damage it, you take your pan off your hob, you put it onto your CORIAN, oops, you burnt it. Now then, what do? Well, with CORIAN, quite simply, you can mend the damaged worktop. What they'll do for you is cut out the damaged worktop, get a new piece of CORIAN, sit it in, seamlessly joint it, and you'll not know there's been any damage to your worktop at all. So that gives CORIAN an extra life. One thing, it's a quick tip really, when you have your Corian installed, they will leave you with a piece of Corian. Now, my advice is you must keep this piece of Corian because it's colour matched to your work surface, because Corian itself, although you might choose ice snow as a finish, you'd think that when you ice snow again in 10 years time it'll be exactly the same, but it's like wallpaper, it shades. So it's very important that you keep your little square piece of Corian, so if you do damage yours, you can use that to seamlessly mend the product. So let me explain in one instance, just give you one idea of why we would perhaps say to one of our clients, will you please consider Corian because it does this for you? And that particular this could be related to the seamless joints. One of the best examples is a kitchen island. There are some occasions where the kitchen island has to be quite large. And when you look at quartz and Corian and laminate, sometimes the maximum depth you can get is 1400 millimetres. And we might want an island that's 1600 millimetres deep back to front. Now with Corian, we can do this, because all you do, you get two pieces of Corian, join them down the middle, two 800 millimetre pieces, so you end up with 1600, seamlessly joint it, and it looks fantastic. If that was quartz or granite, you'd end up with a gorgeous island, a fantastic kitchen, with a joint right the way down the middle, which you'll notice every time you walk into your kitchen. So if you're somebody who wants to have a big island in your kitchen, this is just one example, there are many, many more, then Corian could certainly be worth looking at. Another use of the seamless jointing system is where we actually use splashbacks in the kitchen. Now we've done a full video on splashbacks, just see this link up here. Now then, basically what a splashback is where the worktop finish continues up the wall. But generally speaking, when the actual splashback comes down to the work surface, there's going to be a joint where the splashback meets the work surface. Now with Corian, we can use the seamless jointing system to carve the Corian up the wall so there's actually no joint there at all, which makes cleaning so much easier. And for an awful lot of people, this is one of the best selling points of Corian. Now to further explain that, we've actually got a Corian work surface here on display. We've got a low level table with a higher island unit, and as the actual Corian comes down from the island unit onto the table, here that is a carved upstand. There is no joint there whatsoever, which makes it incredibly easy to keep clean. Now then, some of you eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed something going on in the middle of this table, which is yet another example of something we can do with Corian. We just lift the lid and you've got yourself there a built-in champagne trough including ice, which obviously we don't sell that many of, but quite frankly it just goes to show you just how flexible this Corian product is. Okay, so that's possibly enough about seamless joints. Let's move on now and talk about another major feature of Corian, which is the Corian sinks. In our Corian designs, we can incorporate lots of different types of sinks. You can have the usual surface mounted sinks, where we just cut a big rectangle out of the Corian and sit it down on the top. You can use under mounted sinks in colours, stainless steel or ceramics, like a Belfast for example, where the Corian will just lip over the edges. But where Corian really comes into its own is when the actual sink itself is made of the same material, Corian material. And they're available as single bowls, large bowls, bowl and a halves, every single configuration you can think of. But there are two different categories of Corian sinks. There's a type of Corian sink where the entire sink itself, every part of it, is made of Corian. The other type is called a mixer sink. Now a mixer sink has Corian coming down all the edges, but the bottom of the sink is in a stainless steel finish. This is a mixer sink. You can see that the work surface itself will actually mould down the sides of the bowl, finishing with a stainless steel base. These are mainly used when the colour chosen is a patterned worktop and you want the sink to match the worktop, but the fabrication process doesn't allow for a patterned Corian to mould onto the bottom of the sink, hence the steel base. If you don't like the idea of a steel base, you can use a plain coloured Corian with no steel base. But the thing is with this, you have to bear in mind that with a patterned worktop, the two of the different finishes will join together. It will be a seamless joint, but you'll see a line here, where it transforms from the pattern worktop to maybe a plain cream worktop. So just to reiterate, if you want your sink to be completely fabricated out of Corian, you've only got the choice of plain colours. Now obviously you might actually choose a plain coloured worktop. So let's just say use white for instance. If you chose a white work surface and then the matching white plain bowl, you will not see any joint line at all. It will all seamlessly mould all the way down, as in this photograph here. So let's get back to that original question of are Corian worktops worth it? Well, as I said at the beginning, it is quite a jump in price, but for some people it is definitely something that they should consider. It's down to the individual really. If you absolutely hate joints in your worktop, if you've got a very large island, if you like to see the splashback carve up the wall, or even if you like to have champagne built into the middle of your island, Corian is right for you. This is the product you need. Always listen to your kitchen designer. They will advise you whether or not they feel that Corian is going to be the right product for you based on the design that they're doing. Now obviously that might have raised an awful lot of questions. As always, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments box below. And if you'd like to have more information at your fingertips about your kitchen design, please don't forget to subscribe. And next week we'll take you on a tour of our brand new kitchen showroom down here in Whitchurch. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.